I hope that you're doing well. I am finally getting around to filming the June wrap-up. It's a Saturday morning, not Sunday. I've had a bit of an intense, crazy kind of week. You will see more of that in the weekly videos. I'm not filming a lot, but I'm still filming a bit, and I think it's quite representative of how things have been going in general. But I wanted to just sit down for a bit this morning and chat about journals, because I've got thoughts from the past month. June was a very busy month. I mostly was studying and preparing for exams, as you will have seen in the weekly videos if you keep up with those. So it was just all a lot, and July has not really been any different so far, and it's not going to continue to be different, at least until the 20th or so. So I think that's kind of highlighted some things about my journals that I hadn't necessarily thought about before, so I thought it'd be fun to just sit down for a bit this morning and kind of start the day quietly and talking about journals before I actually get to studying for the rest of it. So because I forgot to do it last time, and I think some people were a bit confused if you're not a regular viewer of the channel, obviously you won't be familiar with my system, and I have a veritable stack of notebooks. I thought, as I usually do, I would give a breakdown, just a very simple breakdown of what I use each notebook for. I just forgot to do it last time. So first of all, we've got an A6, no, not A6, it's a pocket moleskine grid notebook. I use this as my on-the-go notes type of notebook. It's great because it just fits in any kind of bag or pocket, and I've always got it with me to take notes on the go. Wonderful. It's always on my desk. If I'm working on something and thinking about something that I know I'll want to remember later, I'll just write it down in here, and it's very helpful for that. Then I've got my A6 Hobonichi Hon for memory keeping and kind of daily journaling. We're officially halfway through. I'm so excited about that. The Hobonichi Weeks for planning. This is, I think, where I've had the biggest struggles this month. Things haven't been going super smoothly in the Hon either, but I'll get more into that later. But I think the weeks is where I need to fix things, and I might need suggestions on how to do that because I've not figured it out yet. And then I have a standard size traveler's notebook. This is just a black cover. At the moment, I've got 3 books in here. This is a new insert. I get my inserts from Wanderings. I get them from Etsy. They also have them on Amazon, and I get the grid ones. But I've got a new insert that I've just decorated the cover for because I'm about to finish my old one, so I've already set it up and put it in here. Then I've got my current insert, which, as I said, nearly finished. I've got like 5 pages left. Probably going to finish it by the end of the week. I was expecting to finish it by the end of June, but didn't happen, which is okay. And then I have a sticker release paper insert thing from actual Travelers Company that I just keep at the back of here. I've got them tied up with the elastic, and then I've slid my current insert in the middle so it's easier to take out. And I don't really have anything in the pocket. I've got the zip pouch. I used to use this a lot last year. I would keep my my journals, so I use this as kind of an extra journal, like what you would consider your standard journal. Like when you think of a journal, this is the kind of thing that I do in here. And I would use this a lot because I would slide English, the weeks in here kind of like this and close it up. Obviously only with one insert it closes beautifully, and I would use this a lot to carry around with me. I'm not carrying this book around with me at all at the moment. I'm not really even carrying the weeks around with me a lot at the moment, so I've not been doing that. I've not been using the cover as much. Most of the time this insert is just out of the cover and tucked in a drawer or loose on my desk, but it's nice to kind of have the cover to be able to keep them all together. I've also had this cover for at least 5 years now, I think, and it's got a really, really beautiful patina on it. I really love the feeling of it, and I think it's taken on a really lovely, slightly weathered appearance, but it's very charming. It doesn't look worn in the way that like it looks ruined. It just looks worn in a really beautiful way, if that makes sense. And then I've got an A5 rings binder. I got this from Mal Paper on Etsy, I believe. and it's got gold rings. They're small rings, that's the only issue that I have with this cover. It's starting to fill up a bit, but I use this as my Commonplace book. I keep articles and quotes and kind of writings from other people's, but mostly what I use it for is book reviews and anything like book related. Sometimes I'll have quotes, sometimes I have, like, I've got an insert like this where I keep my reading list, that kind of stuff. So Commonplace book, basically. I guess I can kind of go through them in order of how I showed them. Let's reorganize some things around here because everything is chaos already and we haven't even started. Okay, so I think so I will have shown last month that I completed the previous moleskine notebook that I had. This is my second one. I had my first one, I think I started my first one at the beginning of December or end of November of 2023. So the first one lasted me a neat 6 months, and I've had this one for about a month. There's some studying planning in here. I'm preparing for 2 exams, so I kind of keep track of the pages that I've got to study for each module and like the lectures that I've got to go through, how many pages in total, like calculating how many pages I've got to do per day, that kind of thing. Here I was going through some questions that my friend had about her dissertation. That was a phrase that didn't really work grammatically, and we were trying to figure out how to best fix it to make it make sense easily. Some thoughts about illustration and art things that I want to do, and then more studying plans. So there's not a lot going on in here. I think it's probably the month that I've written the least in here so far, but it's helpful to carry around, and it's not something to keep up with. It's just something that is there when I need it, and it's very helpful to have. So I keep that around on my desk. Also, I don't know what's going on, but I think I seem to have something in my backpack that is staining all of my stuff green, and it seems to have stained the sticker that I put on the cover as well, which is really unfortunate because it was really lovely. But obviously, with something that you just throw around in coats and pockets and jackets and bags, it's bound to get ruined, so I don't mind that much. Then we've got, I think, the star of the show. We're 6 months in. I'm so happy about it. Last year, I think around maybe August, I think when Hobonichi was doing the previews, I started thinking about it. It must have been like July or August. I started feeling like I wanted a space where I could journal every day, because I just felt like it would be really nice to have that daily documentation, even outside of really exciting days where maybe I go somewhere or I meet up with someone and I want to record that. I thought it would be good to have a place to just write about my days, even when nothing particularly extraordinary happened, which is just somewhere to record the Monday in as well. And so when it came to picking up books in September, because I pre-ordered at the beginning of September, the first day that things came out, I knew that I really wanted to get the Hon. And to be fair, kind of thinking about it later, I should have just gotten the second half of the Avec to use at the end of last year as well. I feel like I could really have benefited from that, because for a few months I really missed like not having this, and I tried setting up something similar at the back of the Weeks and in my traveler's notebook, and it just, setting it up myself doesn't really work in the same way. And I also really liked the size of the original or the A6 Hon. So I'm so happy that I picked this up, and 6 months in, I think it was probably the best decision that I made, like journaling wise, all of last year. It's been so important, and I don't think it's something that I would want to give up now at all. So I think I might just give you like a quick flip through of the first 5 months, and then we can go through June a bit more in depth, because I feel like it'd be nice to have a general wrap up of it all. I've slid some stickers in the front cover. Sticker sheets fit really nicely in there. I also have one of my own illustrations at the back. This is from the Inktober zine last year. But starting from the calendar, I've used this very much on and off. I used it in February for some tracking, and then I used it again a little bit at the beginning of June because I was dealing with a lot of back pain and I wanted to keep track of that. But again, as you can see, it's not something that I do consistently. I've not set that up for July at all. And similarly with the calendars, in January I did try to do daily drawings, and then this is where it's ended. So again, something that I haven't really kept up with. I already have a calendar in the weeks. I use that a little bit. I don't use that a lot. I find that for calendars like this, we have a big calendar in the kitchen, so I kind of use that, and then I use Google Calendar or iCal for that stuff, so I don't feel the need to use the physical one as much. I do think calendar spreads, when they're like decorated, they're really, really beautiful. And sometimes I think I would maybe like to do something like that, but then on a day-to-day basis, I don't really feel the need to use them, so I just don't. I also never did anything with the Turning the Page for New Year spread, so there's that. So I could kind of do a speed through flip of this. I might kind of put some music and put the clip in like twice speed, so I can just give you a quick flip through of everything, and then we can go through the June pages a little bit more in depth. So that was the first 5 months. I wanted to give you like an in-depth flip through of everything, just so you could get a bit of a better idea of how much I actually stick in and write in every page. As you will have seen, every page is filled up, and every page is filled up for June as well, so that is like a full 6 months complete. And I just wanted to do that as like reference, if anyone is looking for a reference of how the book bulks up, or like how Hobonichi books bulk up in general. You can get a bit of a better idea. I'll show you that in a second. So I started June with a picture that I'd printed out. I printed it out together with these ones. It's from the same day, and I printed out a bit of a bigger one. I think I printed out maybe a couple of these that I maybe wanted to use in the traveler's notebook, and then I ended up thinking it would fit really nicely as a cover page for June, so I put it there. It's a picture that I really like. We went to the park for a picnic, and I was wearing a new dress, and I was really happy about it. So just kind of, similar stuff to what you've seen so far, but June was a really pretty green color, so I was happy about that. Started the 1 month with some coffee with my mom. We also made a really, really good vegetable lasagna. I'm not sure what vegetables they were, but it was very good. And then just a lot of writing. Bought some books. This was exam day, and we had a coffee break mid-morning because we had exams in the morning and then in the afternoon as well. And we had coffee at the cafe that's in front of university. As you can see, there's not been too many stickers lately. I think I used to have more stickers when I first started. I think I just got a bit hyper aware of how much the book was bulking up with the pictures that I was sticking in, and so there's been a few of these round stickers, but not too much else. I don't think. We went to the seaside for the Sunday, and then came back. My parents drove me back. We had a snack at the park in the afternoon and took some really lovely pictures. I printed out more that I put in the traveler's notebook. Here is from a day where I went out to study at a cafe. I got a chai latte and a muffin. This was from my friend's exhibition. His class did a furniture exhibition that they made furniture during their second semester, and so then they had an exhibition about it. Had an empty page that I filled up with a picture of my cat because I have far too many of those, and they all deserve to be printed, but I can't print all of them because I'd be submerged. So, you know, every once in a while I do just print one. She's the laziest thing to have ever existed, and I love her to bits. More writing. This was a very intense weekend of journaling, had a really good time. And then this is actually the day where we had the Nothing But Thieves and Green Day concert, but I journaled about that kind of more in depth in the traveler's notebook, and I put pictures in there, so there's no pictures here. A checklist, or like a revision checklist for my exam that I had on the 20th. I just had it lying around on my desk and I realized it fit perfectly, and I had an empty page, so I put it in here. More daily entries, about a lot of it is just about revision and how things are going, how I was feeling about the exam. Printed out some illustration work that I've been working on. I have not had as much time to keep working on it as I would have liked to, but it's something. It's better than nothing, so I put it there. We went to buy Mallory a shirt for his graduation, and I had a really cute picture from that, so I stuck it down as well. And then pizza night with my parents and their friends. That was really lovely. That was a really good pizza. I don't know how, but my grandma has this plant she has 2 of them. She's had them since I was a literal child. Like, I remember them from childhood, and they've always grown white flowers. A couple of weeks ago, somehow, she was like, they've grown a yellow flower. I don't know why. So I thought that was worth remembering, and I took a picture of that. And then this was a video thumbnail, I think, but I liked it, so I stuck it down as well. It's a lot of mundane documenting, but I really like the feeling that these entries bring me, even if I'm not necessarily always rereading the entire entry. I think it's very important for me to have the pictures because they really bring back the feeling of the moment, or the week, or the time period in general. This was Mallory's first thesis defense day. He's having the second one next week, which is very exciting, and then he's officially going to graduate. Had dinner on the balcony for the first time. Obviously summer's arrived and it's been hot, but it's also been raining a lot, so I haven't been able to do this every day like I normally would. So I took a picture of that, and then this was at the weekend, we went out for pizza again. More thoughts, and then it's the end of the month. I did backfill about half of June at the weekend, this past weekend, on the 29th. I think this was Saturday and this was Sunday. I just sat down on Saturday or Sunday morning and I backfilled all of the pages that I had empty throughout the month. I think because it was such a busy month, and that's still kind of carrying on in July. Oftentimes I get to the evening and I don't necessarily feel like writing, I just feel like going to bed. Or I've really also been enjoying aside from that, I've really been enjoying sitting down for longer journaling sessions and maybe filling up 2 or 3 pages at the time or more. So that's just kind of how I've been doing it. And then I print pictures at the weekend, and stick them in. Oftentimes if I'm writing throughout the week, I'll leave like an empty gap for the picture if I know that I've taken a really nice picture that day and I want to print it out and stick it in. So that's just kind of how I've been doing it. Also, I've had some people recently ask me how I print my pictures kind of the same size. There's probably easier way to do this, but I have like a template in Procreate. I've basically just made squares or like rectangles that are the size of the pictures that I like, and I resize all of my pictures using those as a guide, and then I distribute them across the page. I have a few different guides for like pictures that I put in here, like this standard size, the taller ones for like if I took maybe a nice picture for Instagram that is 16 by 9, I have a guide for that too, or for when they're horizontal. And I also have one for bigger pictures, like the one that I had stuck in that I don't know where it went, but this one, and also one from my traveler's notebook. So I have different guides for that, and I just resize my pictures according to that. So that's how I do it for reference. And then I guess I can show you the first few pages in July as well. I forgot to fill in the first, so I'll backfill that eventually. Went to the movies to see Inside Out 2, and then I've got my entry underneath the ticket, and then more writing from the past few days. So that's just kind of how things have been going. I've been watching some videos about people moving into the new half of the AVEC. Obviously, if you're in the AVEC, you will be moving to the new one soon, or like you will have moved to the new one. And I've been thinking, because obviously the book is bulking up substantially, like it's chunky. This is what it looks like if I kind of squish it down, and then like it's mostly, the bulk is mostly at the bottom, not so much at the top because I don't stick in as much, but it's a chunky book. When you're writing, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world at the moment, but I'm still managing. But I was thinking, because the book is bulking up so much, maybe it would be worth considering eventually getting the second half of the Avec and kind of finishing the year in that instead of in here, if it gets to the point where it's just unmanageable and I can't comfortably write in here anymore. But then I was watching those videos and I was just so emotional at the thought of having to like separate from this book halfway through the year. Like, this is a really stressful time. And it's, I think, for at least in the next couple of years, June to July transition is always going to be a stressful time because I'll be in the middle of exam season. I cannot take on the emotional toll of switching to a new book when I'm so emotionally attached to this one, or like I would to the first half of the Avec if I were in that. It would be devastating to have to move to a new one. It's different from moving to a new book in the new year. That's very different. I feel like also because the transition happens at a time where everything is a lot quieter for me. Obviously from kind of Christmas to the 7th of January usually, we're on holiday, and so I'm at my parents' place. I'm just having a chill couple of weeks, and I have time for no books. I'm excited about no books, and I am calm enough to be able to move to a new book and to leave the old one behind and start a new one and get attached to a new one. But I don't think I'd be able to do it at this time of the year. So I think I'm going to stick it out for the rest of the year, just in this book. I was also saying, I recorded a bit of talking for the weekly video yesterday, and I was saying how, because when I first started the book, I was filling every single page, kind of the entire page. There's only a few that maybe have only one column filled up, but for the most part, like, everything is filled up. There's no empty pages, and there's no pages where like I've just written something at the very top, or I've just stuck a small picture in and haven't commented on it. I think because I started like that, then I kind of kept going like that, and for June I did consider not backfilling it, because 15 days is a lot to backfill. And on a lot of those days, there wasn't necessarily anything particularly interesting or particularly exciting happening. On some of those days there were, definitely, and I did want to backfill those. But also, I just feel like, I was talking about this with a friend recently, how you get to July and you're like, how is it July already? Like, New Year's feels like yesterday. But the more I look at this, and I look at all of these entries, and I look at all of these days, it makes it a lot more tangible just how much has happened in the last 6 months. And it really feels like it's been a really worthwhile 6 months. They've been really full months. I haven't thrown my time away. I've really lived it, and I've really documented it, and I've been present, and I am very grateful to have this space where I can look back and really feel like I felt in those moments again, and feel like my memories are safe in here. And so, at least for the rest of this year, I would like to continue doing it this way and kind of filling up every page. You know, I left the 1st of July blank. I will go back and backfill this. But I don't know if I will do the same next year, because obviously it is time consuming and things are they're going to change. I'm starting my master's in October if everything goes to plan. So things are going to change, and I don't know what my life will be like next year, how much time I'll have for journals and all of that. So I might, from next year, decide to start not filling up every page and maybe just write a couple of lines. If you know, I've had a really stressful day and I just want to write, had a really stressful day, full stop, and that's it. I think I would maybe like to do that next year, but for this year it feels really important to keep going how I've been doing it, and just filling up every single page to the brim. So that's kind of, I wanted to talk about it because I mentioned that I was probably not going to backfill all of June, and I ended up doing that, and that's kind of the reasoning behind it, if that makes sense. I also, yeah, there's the next 6 months, and then I also, there's 14 blank pages at the back that I always forget to show, but I used it at the end of last year. I started at the beginning of December because, as I was saying, I was really craving this type of journaling, of daily documenting. So for a little bit in December, I used this for journaling as well. I didn't do it daily, at least for the first half of December, but there's some nice entries. It was a way to kind of get accustomed to the book, to the size of the pictures that I liked, to the paper, because it's a new paper, and just, it was interesting to the size. It's a book size that I haven't used ever before, I don't think, so it was really lovely. And when I started on the 1st of January, I was already a little bit more at home and attached to this book than if I hadn't done anything in it before. So that was the Hon. That was a very long ramble about the Hon. I'm gonna go take a sip of water and then we can talk about the rest. So, still with Hobonichi, I have been thinking a lot about the weeks, and I haven't really gotten anywhere with all of that thinking, so I might need some help here. I've been using this kind of layout for planning for about 1.5 years now. Before I got my first weeks, I think in June or July of last year, for about 6 months I was using the Traveler's Notebook Weekly Plus Memo insert, which has the same setup. Basically, I had it set up in the exact same way. So I have a running to-do list on this side with the days, so I can check off or half cross off when I do the task on which day, if that makes sense. And then I draw lines when the task is completed. And I have my tasks, this is a really good example from the end of May. I've got my tasks separated in YouTube and art and like all of that kind of stuff, related tasks, university stuff, personal things. There's a few things that I kind of track every week, and then sometimes I'll add onto that with like other tasks that kind of come up, and then I've got my mood tracker. And I've been using that for the entire year. Like, it's the same spread over and over and over again. And it's worked really well for the first half of the year. But for a few weeks, I've not been very consistent with it. I've not been looking at it a lot. And I've not really felt like checking off my mood tracker, checking off my other trackers, like my personal trackers and stuff. Oh, and then I have like day-specific tasks on this side, forgot to mention it. And sometimes I'll have a filming list at the bottom. I think I do this week, so yeah, kind of like this. So I've not really felt like checking in, and so because I haven't been checking in, obviously it's not been very helpful. I feel like a lot of that is due to the fact that I've just had, most of what's been going on is either been going to the lab for my internship, and I know when I have to do that, or studying. And I've got studying trackers somewhere else. I've got my studying trackers, mostly I keep all of my studying related stuff on Notion. I have gigantic trackers for all of that, but also I have some stuff in my traveler's notebook that you will see in a second. So, or like in the moleskine as well. It's a bit all over the place. I've been a bit all over the place, but because of that, I've not really been checking in with the weeks a lot. I did use it this week, and then I kind of, for the second week of June, I tried something a bit different. I tried to set some intentions for the week, and then have my to-do list underneath that and stick some pictures in. I've not even crossed off like my lab days. I probably set it up on the Monday and then checked in on the Wednesday and then didn't look at it for the rest of the week. So not very helpful. Straight up didn't set it up the week after that because I realized it's just pointless if I'm not going to use it. I did set it up last week. I set it up with some cute stickers to kind of keep myself a little bit more motivated to use it, I guess. And I did use it, but it's not, I don't know, it's not the same. I took away the mood tracker, and I took away my tracking, like my personal tracking stuff, where I've kind of just always had when I clean the house or when I wash my hair and when I go to the gym. It's something that I've tracked for a long time. It's helpful stuff. I took that away because I just wasn't checking off the boxes. And I've done kind of a similar thing this week. I think this week I've been using the daily columns a little bit more, like the daily rows a bit more, and I've not really set up a running to-do list. So I don't know. The issue I think is that I don't know what my needs are at the moment in terms of planning. I just also don't really have the mental space to think about that and to reflect on that all that much. So I think what I'm going to do is just keep writing daily lists for myself instead of using the big weekly list, or like I'm not going to do it as structured. I'm maybe going to use this page a bit more loosely. Like this is a filming list. I've not written my filming list thing at the top. I think I'm just going to use it a little bit more loosely, at least for the next couple of weeks, while I'm still like deep in the trenches with studying and everything is overwhelming and tiring and I can't deal with the issues that are obviously there. And then after I'm done with exams, maybe I'll figure out a better way to do things. Maybe I'll feel like going back to the old way again. Maybe I'll find a different way to use the book again. But if you use the weeks for planning specifically, I would really like to know how you do that, and if you have any suggestions on how I could start doing that, because I need help. And then set some stuff up for next week, just again daily things, and then I haven't been using the back of it really. I've got running lists at the back, but I haven't really been doing any of that, so there's that. Having the pencil board though has been really lovely, both for, I use it mostly as a ruler, but also because the weeks still has the old paper that kind of bleeds a little bit more, or like the ink doesn't dry as quickly on it as it does on the new paper, so it's nice to have the pencil board to be able to put in between the pages so it doesn't stain everywhere. So that's been really nice. And then finally, or not finally, we've still got the Commonplace, but there's really nothing to see in there. I have some nice spreads in the Traveler's Notebook this month, I think. So where we left off in May was... That's June already. This was the end of May, 31st of May. So a personal entry, I think this was before an exam. Yeah, this was the morning of an exam, so I needed to blurt out thoughts, clearly. This was from a picnic that we took on the 30th of May, actually, and I had a wrapping from the sandwich that we got that was really cute, so I stuck it in. That same picture that I put in the Hon, I printed it twice accidentally, but went in here as well. I tagged this one, so this means art stuff. I was thinking about potentially oil painting some stuff, did not do that. Also, this is lifting up, I'll have to stick it down again. And then thinking about some other ideas, some thoughts about nostalgia and like illustrations that I want to do related to that and that I've started doing related to that. And then I have a quote kind of to do with that entry as well. This is what I was saying about revision trackers and stuff. I was using this alongside the checklist that I had in here, that I stuck in here at some point, this one. I should go back and backfill this because like I did all of this on top of this stuff, so there's like 3 or 4 more rounds of revision that I didn't track in here, but you know, it is what it is. And then another personal entry. These are the pictures that I was talking about earlier from when we went to the seaside and then to the park. I should write about them. I didn't. I just stuck them in, and then I didn't end up writing anything about them, but I'm glad that I have them in here. And then I was thinking about illustration and layouts and inspiration and just things that I want to do and draw and that I haven't had the time to do, which has been horrible, but we'll get around to that eventually. But I printed out some inspiration and I put the credits for all of them at the bottom. So I printed out some inspiration stuff and journaled about it, and I was talking about what I liked from each source of inspiration, I guess, and kind of what I could extrapolate from them. I've still got a little bit of space. I don't know when I'm going to really fill that up. I think I probably will as I keep working on the project, but kind of as a follow-up from that, I printed out an illustration that I did. This was an ink drawing that I did in this sketchbook, and then I scanned it and colored it in digitally, and then some layout stuff that I've been working on. This was, I start this entry saying, a small bit of morning journaling, both to procrastinate starting to study and to actually clear my head and maybe figure out what I'm doing this week. So that's been the mood recently, if that gives you any idea of how things have been going. And then following up on that project, I printed out a mock-up of the first pages that I pulled together from it, and so I put that together and then I stuck it in here because I didn't know what to do with it otherwise. I think it was a good idea to put it in here. I'm not too worried about, obviously it's quite chunky, but I'm not too worried about bulk in these books because they're quite thin. I change over them relatively frequently, so that's been okay. More stressed out journaling about things, and then these are the pages from the concert that I was talking about. So we weren't particularly close. It was 80,000 people at the concert, and it was a festival type setting, so unless you were like underneath the stage, you couldn't see things particularly well and you couldn't really take great pictures. So I printed out pictures from like the official photographers instead, because I took very few pictures. I took a couple of videos, but I took very few pictures, and I didn't really have any pictures that was really worth printing. So I printed out some of those, and I stuck in my ticket as well. And then I was there, I was kind of just talking about the entire experience, and it was insane. It was Nothing But Thieves that were opening for Green Day, and I love Nothing But Thieves. I've seen them twice live now, and they're incredible. And I'd never seen Green Day before, and it was the concert of a lifetime. It was incredible. They're insane. They did 36 songs. When have you ever heard of a concert where they played 36 songs? Incredible. They didn't stop for a second. Incredible energy. It was so good. So I wanted to document that somewhat properly, I guess. And then I still had a poster printed out from when the latest Nothing But Thieves album came out last year. I printed this out just before I went to see them last year, and I saw them like the day after the album came out. They were opening for Liam Gallagher at the same festival. And then another entry from the beginning of July, again, just more blurting out thoughts and like complaining about the fact that I can't do the things that I want. And all I have to do is studying. It'd be nice. I'm enjoying this study. It'd just be nice to have a bit more balance. There is no balance at the moment. So there's that. And then I printed out another thumbnail picture because I liked it. I like the colors. It's also journal inception because this is this spread, which I think is funny, but yeah. And then I've got like 5 more pages left, so probably gonna finish it by the end of the week. And then last but not least, the Commonplace. There's really very little to say in here because I've not done much. I think in June it's when I printed out some articles. So I printed out On Keeping a Notebook by Joan Didion, and I've got that in here. Haven't had the time to go back and underline anything, annotate anything. Would love to do that. Hasn't happened. And then this is a chapter from a book that was published as what's it called? An article on the New Yorker, on the New York Times, I think, actually, because Lauren Collins is also a writer for the New York Times. But this is an excerpt from her book that I really liked, and this is about language and translation. And then there's another article at the back of that is also about translation, and it's related to a book. So when I eventually do read the book, I will probably move that to the book section of the Commonplace. I've got 3 sections, didn't think I mentioned that, but the first one is nostalgia related, and so I've got On Keeping a Notebook in there. Second one, which they're separated by, where is it? There it is. Watercolor paper sheets that I just hole punched. The second one is language and translation, I guess. And then the last one is just my book section. So I've got all of my book reviews and stuff in here. I don't know if I added any new ones in June or if we're still just at the ones that I did in May. No, this is from June. Okay. This was May. This was end of May as well. And then I've yet to write my review for this one because I wanted to do that on like a quiet afternoon where I could really gather my thoughts, because it's a book that I loved and I've not had any of those throughout the month, so it's still blank. And then I wrote a really quick review for this one, which was also a really good book. And I have actually finished another book since, so I should print out, or have I printed it out? I don't think I have. I don't think I printed out the cover photo for it yet. No, I need to do that, so I can then journal about it, and then hopefully I'm gonna finish reading Bunny as well. I'm reading Bunny by Mona Wad. I'm gonna finish reading Bunny probably this weekend, so I can then journal about that too, but I think all of that is going to happen after exams. I'm just keep adding onto that list because at the moment nothing can happen, and then I've just got my spare paper at the back. So that's an update there. It wasn't the most, well, I mean, it was a nice month journaling wise, everything considered. It was a very intense month. It was all a lot. I would have liked to have had more time for drawing and for journaling and for all of that, and maybe do things a little bit more consistently and not just always catching up, but it is what it is, and we made it work. So that was a little wrap up. I hope it was helpful. I would love to know how journaling has been going for you the past few months or the past month. And if you're also in something like in a 6-month book or in a year book, and you're halfway through that, I would love to know your feelings about that, or like if you've moved to the New York, how you felt about that. It would be interesting to talk about that in the comments. So I hope we can maybe chat about that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go make myself another cup of tea because I'm going to need more than one to get through the day, and I'm going to get back to studying. But I hope that you have a really lovely day, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.